Well, my name is Timmy B. I am the head producer and current recording artist on KMKL, No Life, No Music Entertainment, and this is Timmy B Behind the Music. Well, this is the very first time I've ever done this, so a lot of firsts going on right now. So, anyways, on this segment, Behind the Music, I am going to be deep diving into my album projects, track by track by track by track by track, and give you guys a little bit of a better understanding about my current music process, whether it's lyricism or making beats. And I would like to also hear from you guys, either what you think, or maybe if you yourself are a producer or a lyricist, tell me about your processes. I would love to hear about it. But this very first segment, we're not going to deep dive just yet into what it is, how it is that I do things, but more so to kick this off, let's talk about the album in question, which is my very first album, Sinner, The Beginning. This album is my very first self-produced and my first album as a solo act. It has been in the works for a long, long time as I was in the process of learning how to make beats, how to count my bars, how to do this and that, and so on and the other. And I want to talk a little bit about what the album is about, what is the inspiration for it, and the meaning behind it. So the very first thing is that Sinner is part of a 4-part album series. And this is the very first of those 4. This is, after all, Sinner, The Beginning. This is album 1 of 4 that will be coming in the very near future. With that said, what I am currently doing is an album series called the Sinner Series. And it is like all 4 albums together will tell one continuous story. And what that story is about, kind of like self-identification, like finding yourself, your belonging in either this industry or your part of life. And so basically the whole backstory is we took a little bit of Delta blues culture to where it was kind of like, lack of a better term, you're selling your soul to embark on this journey to become a musician with huge fame and fortune. And things that you will hear on this album is not only going to be touching specifically on that story, but these things will all be made more clear in the future with further releases and everything. So with that said, when I did Sinner, The Beginning, the thing that I knew was going to give me some difficulty was the word sinner itself. I am from Florida, and we are kind of in the Bible Belt, and everything surrounding me at that time when I was living in Lake City, Florida, was very religion oriented. So it was very hard to market it, especially without a specific team at the time. To really get it out there, because a lot of people, when they see something like, Sinner or anything occult of any kind, they tend to shy away from it in a very, Christian driven town. So the thing about it is that people need to understand that with the word sinner, I wasn't specifically just talking about evil or sin, so to speak. It is also more so about imperfection and realizing those imperfections. And you will hear these things throughout the album, anything, this album is, so to speak, imperfectly perfect. I made sure that everything in it had some sort of imperfection, whether it was the way the beat was made, the way it was produced, or the way it was mixed, or in the lyricism. That things are like quite amateur, because after all, this is just the very beginning, you know. And with future album releases, you will see that there will be a vast difference, in character, like whether it is in production, beat structure, lyricism, and so on and so forth. As at the end of the saga, it all kind of just comes together, and the initial goal will be reached. But first, I had to get past the very beginning stage, my amateur stage. This is when I was just like kind of, hitting the scene, and it was like, okay, well, I've never put out an album before. I've never been on stage before. I've never done this. I still got to figure all this out. And that is what this album is completely about. It is about, realizing just how much work you really have to do to put into this stuff. And that in the very beginning, you really don't know much of anything, and so I was just kind of, taking, things that, seemed kind of popular, and was just like, okay, well, how can I reach the attention of everybody, like what kind of things, do I need to, rap about, sing about, whatever it is. And how do these beats need to sound, to also make sure that everything, still fits me as an artist. So I got some inspiration from various different artists that I have either played shows with locally, or even, nationally, at that time. And just trying to, like figure out, like, what was something that really fits with this person, what was really, fitting with this, like what kind of styles were, just really incorporated. And at that time, I was also like still like really adamant about wanting to be a huge part of the Juggalo culture, and that was like my honestly absolutely biggest inspiration. And it wasn't more so just like trying to ride ICP's coattail. It was really the overall culture, like the people within that community, and seeing just like how vastly different styles of music that they like, aside from just, ICP and Twisted, like meeting with other juggalos and going to the shows and whatever. It was amazing to see, just, like how broad of of genre bending, and different styles of music that this community was really into. So I was able to like really, creatively just kind of like reach out and do very different things that all just kind of combined into one. And so I myself, having been and still am an enormous Insane Clown Posse fan, right? And I am proud and happy to be part of the Juggalo community. But the biggest thing that I always wanted to push to people was to make sure they knew that I was not a Juggalo rapper. I was a Juggalo who so happens to be a rapper. There is a huge difference. I wanted to take the things that I really liked, but I wanted to create my own thing. And I strongly feel that I did this with Sinner the Beginning, and with what other albums I am currently working on. So with that said, I did so many different things that still kind of tied to the Juggalo culture and the style of music that they do, um, but also kind of tweaking it into things, to where I wrote about things that were very personal to me. It was things that, I could creatively, come up with on my own, and tell my own stories, without trying to coattail off of something that someone else already did, no matter how much of a fan I was. Now, I wanted to create something where you could kind of see where the inspiration came from, but it was still his own thing. And then there are also a couple of tracks on here where I do make some references, to the Juggalo community and all of that stuff. And this album, by all means, is definitely very underground. But in the end, I am absolutely proud of this album because I did everything that I set out to do with this project. And in my opinion, it was an enormous success, with the way it came together, because now that this is out of the way, I can move on to the next project and the next piece of this saga that I am trying to put together. Um, and I'm just really happy with how it came together. It was a nice mixture of absolutely everything that I either believe in, that I am definitely into, and even some things that I just absolutely had to get off of my chest. And honestly, that is what makes some of the greatest music, is just when an artist can be absolutely open, no bars hold or nothing. And Sinner was just that project where I was just like, dude, fuck all the rules. I'm just gonna just throw some shit together. I'm just gonna not think about it. I'm just going to write songs and I'm gonna put them out. I'm gonna put them together. It'll make sense later. And this is a great tone setter album. A tone setter for the other three that are going to come in the very near future. And with this vlog series, I am going to, like I said, deep dive into every single track, and we're going to get a lot more detail about every single song and every lyric written on this particular album. And I hope that you guys are going to enjoy it as much as I am, and maybe it'll even give you you guys some insight. I am also going to go ahead and post the link to my hyperfollow down below, and when you click on that link, you can choose whatever streaming platform that you want to stream this entire album for free. And I really hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I did making it, and I can assure you a lot more is to come. I am Timmy B of KMKL, and this is Behind the Music.